Clint Eastwood's Tonight Show appearance spirals into chaos as he clashes with Jimmy Fallon. A heated argument erupts over respect and authenticity, leaving the audience stunned. Will Eastwood's defiance prevail, or will Fallon regain control? The stage is set at The Tonight Show, and the energy in the studio is electric. Jimmy Fallon, with his signature grin, bounces in his chair, ready to welcome a legend. The audience roars as Clint Eastwood strides out, his weathered face etched with that iconic squint. At 94, he's still a force, here to promote his new film, The Last Stand, a gritty drama about a retired soldier confronting a corrupt system. The crowd's cheers fade as Eastwood settles into the guest chair, his posture rigid, like he's sizing up the room. Fallon kicks things off with his usual charm. "Clint, man, it's an honor. You're a legend, and this new movie sounds intense. But first, let's have some fun. You ever try TikTok? I bet you'd kill it with that stare." The audience laughs, but Eastwood doesn't crack a smile. His eyes narrow and he leans forward slightly. "I'm here to talk about the film, Jimmy, not to dance for clicks." The crowd murmurs, caught off guard by the edge in his voice. Fallon, unfazed, keeps the playful vibe. "Oh, come on, Clint. We gotta loosen you up. Let's do a quick game. Squinting showdown." He holds up a prop, a comically oversized cowboy hat, and the band plays a goofy Western tune. Eastwood's jaw tightens. "I didn't come here for games. This film's about sacrifice, betrayal, real things people face. You want to talk about that, or waste time with this nonsense?" The audience splits, some clapping for Eastwood's intensity, others chuckling, awkwardly, loyal to Fallon's lighthearted shtick. Fallon, sensing the tension, tries to pivot. Okay, let's talk serious. Your movie's got heavy themes. Corruption, right? Kinda like politics today?" He winks at the crowd, fishing for laughs. But Eastwood isn't biting. "Politics?" Eastwood snaps, his voice low but sharp. "This isn't about left or right, Jimmy. It's about truth. People are tired of being fed fluff when the world's falling apart. You gonna respect that, or keep playing court jester?" The studio goes quiet, the air thick. Fallon's smile falters, but he recovers, leaning in. "Hey, I respect you. Clint, I'm just trying to give the audience a good time." "They love you." He gestures to the crowd who cheer on cue, but Eastwood shakes his head. "Respect's earned, not handed out like candy," Eastwood says, his voice steady but piercing. "You think this show's about entertaining, but it's also about listening. You listening, Jimmy?" The challenge hangs there, raw and unfiltered. Fallon, caught off balance, tries to laugh it off. "I'm listening, Clint, but we gotta keep it fun, right? Let's talk about the film. Tell us about your character." He's scrambling, but Eastwood's not letting up. "My character's a man who's seen too much," Eastwood says, staring straight at Fallon. "He's done with people dodging what matters, kinda like I'm feeling right now." The audience gasps, some cheering, others whispering. Fallon's eyes dart to the control booth, but he's on his own. He leans forward, dropping the playful act for a moment. "All right, Clint. You want real? Let's get real. What's your problem with me tonight?" It's a bold move, and the crowd leans in, sensing blood in the water. Eastwood doesn't blink. "My problem's when people hide behind jokes instead of facing what's in front of them. You invited me here, Jimmy. You gonna step up, or keep dodging?" The tension is unbearable, every word a spark threatening to ignite. The audience is split, half rooting for Eastwood's raw honesty, half waiting for Fallon to turn it around. Fallon grips his desk, his knuckles white, and forces a smile. "I'm right here, Clint. But this is my show, and I'm not dodging anything." The standoff is electric, and just as Eastwood opens his mouth to fire back, the segment cuts to a break. The crowd's buzzing, phones already lighting up with clips of the clash. What's Eastwood going to say next? And can Fallon hold his ground against a legend who's clearly had enough? The Tonight Show stage crackles with tension as the break ends. Jimmy Fallon, visibly rattled but clinging to his host's charm, adjusts his tie and flashes a tight smile at the audience. Their cheers are louder now, fueled by the viral clips already spreading online. Clint Eastwood sits stone-faced, his piercing gaze locked on Fallon, who's trying to regain control. The band strikes up a playful tune, but it feels out of place, like laughter at a funeral. Fallon claps his hands, forcing enthusiasm. "Welcome back, everybody. We're here with the one and only Clint Eastwood, and wow, things are getting spicy." The crowd laughs nervously, but Eastwood doesn't budge, his silence louder than any retort. Fallon leans forward, his voice a mix of defiance and diplomacy. "All right, Clint, you said I'm dodging. I'm not. I'm right here, ready to talk about your film, The Last Stand. Let's do this. What's the heart of this movie?" It's a peace offering, but Eastwood's not in a forgiving mood. He shifts in his chair, his voice gravelly and deliberate. "The heart? It's about a man who's had enough of people twisting the truth for their own gain." Sound familiar, Jimmy? The jab lands hard and the audience gasps, some clapping, others shifting uncomfortably. Fallon's smile twitches, but he holds it. "Twisting the truth? Come on, Clint. I'm just trying to keep this fun for the fans. You're making it personal." Eastwood's eyes narrow, and he leans closer, his voice cutting through the studio's hum. "It is personal when you invite me here and try to turn my work into a circus. This film's about real pain, real fights. You think your audience can't handle that?" The crowd roars, split down the middle. Some chant, "Clint, Clint," while others shout Fallon's name. The division is palpable, and Fallon's composure frays. He throws up his hands, his voice rising. "I know they can handle it, Clint, but this is a talk show, not a lecture hall. People want to laugh, not get preached at." The audience murmurs, sensing the confrontation escalating. Eastwood doesn't flinch. "Preaching? I'm talking about respect, for the work, for the people watching. You think they're here just for your props and giggles? They're smarter than that." He points to the crowd, and a wave of cheers erupts, though some boo, loyal to Fallon's brand of entertainment. Fallon, now visibly heated, slams a hand on his desk. "Respect? I respect my audience every night. I give them what they want, a break from the heavy stuff. You're the one acting like you're above it all." The accusation hangs in the air, and the studio feels like a powder keg. Eastwood's voice drops, cold and steady. "I'm not above it, I'm in it. Same as them. But I don't hide behind a desk and a laugh track when things get real. You invited me, Jimmy. You ready to meet me halfway, or you just gonna keep swinging?" The challenge is raw, and Fallon's eyes flash with a mix of anger and desperation. He leans back, trying to reclaim the upper hand. "I'm swinging, Clint, but you're the one throwing punches. Let's talk about your movie without the sermon. Can you do that?" It's a dare, and the audience holds its breath. Eastwood shakes his head, a faint smirk breaking his stoic mask. "You still don't get it. This ain't about the movie anymore. It's about you deciding if you're a host or a showman." The crowd erupts, some standing, others filming on their phones. Fallon, cornered, snaps back. "I'm both, Clint, and I'm damn good at it. But you? You're making this a fight, and I'm not backing down." The intensity peaks, and just as Eastwood opens his mouth, he suddenly stands, ripping off his mic. "I'm done talking to a wall," he growls, and storms off stage, leaving Fallon frozen and the audience in chaos. Phones light up, capturing every second. Fallon stares at the empty chair, his face a mix of shock and fury. What just happened? And how will he recover from this public humiliation? The Tonight Show studio is a storm of noise as Clint Eastwood's exit leaves a void on stage. The audience is a mix of gasps and cheers, phones raised, capturing the chaos. Jimmy Fallon sits alone, his face a mask of shock and barely contained rage, staring at the empty chair where Eastwood sat moments ago. The band, unsure what to do, fumbles a few notes before going silent. Fallon's hands grip the desk, his knuckles white, as he processes the public gut punch. The control booth is frantic, producers signaling to cut to commercial, but Fallon waves them off, his jaw set. He's not letting this end on Eastwood's terms. All right," he says, voice tight, forcing a laugh that doesn't reach his eyes. "Guess Clint's not a fan of late-night vibes." The crowd chuckles nervously, but the tension is suffocating. Fallon stands, pacing slightly, his charm cracking under the weight of humiliation. "Look, I get it," he says, addressing the audience directly. "Clint's a legend, right? He's got that tough guy thing down. But this is my show, and I'm not here to be schooled." The crowd roars, some clapping for Fallon's defiance, others still buzzing from Eastwood's walkout. He points to the empty chair. "He thinks I'm just a showman? Fine. But I'm also the guy who keeps this stage alive every night, and I don't need a lecture on respect." His voice rises, raw and unfiltered, and the audience leans in, sensing he's fighting to reclaim the narrative. Backstage, the crew is in disarray. Producers huddle, debating whether to coax Eastwood back or let the segment implode. Social media is already ablaze. Clips of the confrontation rack up millions of views, with hashtags like Eastwood vs. Fallon trending. Some call Eastwood a hero for calling out talk show fluff. Others slam him for disrespecting Fallon's platform. The divide fuels the frenzy, and Fallon knows it. He grabs a water bottle, takes a swig, and turns back to the crowd, his eyes burning. "You want to talk? Respect?" he says, voice steadying but sharp. "Respect is showing up, doing the work, and meeting people where they're at. I do that every night." "Clint? He just walked away." The audience splits again, some cheering Fallon's comeback, others murmuring about Eastwood's point. A woman in the front row yells, "Bring Clint back," and others echo her while Fallon's fans shout him on. He seizes the moment, leaning into the chaos. "You want Clint back? So do I. But I'm not chasing him. This is The Tonight Show, and we don't fold." The crowd erupts, and Fallon's energy shifts, feeding off their support. He's not just hosting now. He's fighting for his legacy. "Let's talk about what just happened," he says, sitting back down, his tone a mix of defiance and vulnerability. "Clint came here to promote The Last Stand, a film about truth, right? But truth isn't just storming off when you don't get your way. It's staying, talking, connecting. The monologue is a gamble, and it's working. The audience is hooked, hanging on his every word. But then, a ripple runs through the crowd. Whispers spread, and heads turn toward the stage wing. Fallon notices, his voice faltering for a split second. "Is Eastwood coming back?" The possibility electrifies the room, and Fallon's pulse races. He keeps talking, but his eyes flick to the side. "Truth is hard," he says, improvising. "It's messy. And yeah, maybe I lean on jokes sometimes. But that's not dodging. It's bringing people together." The crowd cheers, but the tension spikes as a shadow moves backstage. Fallon's producer signals from the booth, mouthing, "He's gone." Eastwood's not returning. He's left the building. The realization hits Fallon like a slap, but he doesn't let it show. Instead, he doubles down, his voice rising. "You know what? I invited Clint here because I respect his work. But respect goes both ways, and I'm not here to be anybody's punching bag." The audience roars, fully behind him now, but the victory feels hollow. Eastwood's absence looms, and Fallon knows the internet's already dissecting every word. Will he turn this into a triumph, or will Eastwood's shadow steal the night? The Tonight Show studio pulses with raw energy as Jimmy Fallon stands tall, his voice ringing with defiance. The producer's signal, "Eastwood's gone," stings, but Fallon channels the hurt into fuel. The audience is electric, their cheers. A lifeline. Yet the empty chair beside him taunts, a silent reminder of Clint Eastwood's walkout. Social media is a wildfire. Clips of the clash amassing views, with the Eastwood vs. Fallon splitting fans into camps, those hailing Eastwood's gritty authenticity and those rallying for Fallon's resilience. Fallon feels the weight of every tweet, every post, but he's not done fighting. He paces the stage, his eyes scanning the crowd. "I'm not anybody's punching bag," he repeats, slower now, letting the words sink in. The audience roars, fully in his corner, and he seizes the moment to turn the night around. "Clint Eastwood's a legend," Fallon says, his tone shifting, less angry, more introspective. "I grew up watching his films, same as you. The Last Stand? It's powerful, about fighting for what's right. But here's the thing, fighting doesn't mean tearing each other down, it means showing up, even when it's messy." The crowd quiets, hanging on his words. Fallon's not just hosting, he's bearing his soul. "I invited Clint here to share his story, not to play games. Maybe I pushed too hard with the jokes. But respect? I've got that in spades. For him, for you, for this show." A few claps break out, swelling into applause. He's winning them over, not with charm, but with honesty. Backstage, the crew watches in awe. The producer, who'd been ready to cut the segment, nods approvingly. Fallon's turning a disaster into a defining moment. He sits, leaning toward the audience like they're old friends. "Clint said respect is earned. He's right, but it's also given. I gave it to him by bringing him here. And you?" He points to the crowd. "You give it every night, showing up, laughing, listening. That's why I do this." The room erupts and Fallon feels the tide shift. The internet's still buzzing, but the narrative's changing. Posts praising his vulnerability start to drown out the memes. Then a curveball. A stagehand rushes to the producer, whispering urgently. A note from Eastwood, left in the green room. The producer hesitates, then slips it to Fallon during a swell of applause. Fallon glances at it, his face unreadable. The crowd senses something's up, their murmurs rising. He holds up the note, his voice steady. "Clint left this. Want to know what it says?" The audience leans in, breathless. It says, "Keep fighting, kid, but listen harder." Fallon pauses, letting it land. The crowd gasps, then cheers, some laughing, others wiping tears. It's vintage Eastwood, gruff, cryptic, but not cruel. Fallon nods, tucking the note in his pocket. "Guess I'll take that advice," he says, a wry smile breaking through. "But I'm still running this show my way." The tension eases, but the drama's not over. Fallon pivots, addressing the viral storm head-on. "The internet's going crazy right now, and that's okay. Let's talk about what happened. Clint and I? We're different. He's a straight shooter. I'm a guy who loves a laugh. But we both care about connecting with you." He gestures to the crowd, his voice rising. "Tonight wasn't perfect, but it was real. And if that's not what this show's about, then I don't know what is." The audience stands, their ovation thunderous. Fallon's not just salvaged the night, he's owned it. As the band kicks in, Fallon dances, his energy infectious. The segment ends, but the story doesn't. Online, the narrative shifts. Fallon's hailed for his grace under fire, while Eastwood's note softens his exit, framing it as tough love, not malice. The clash becomes a cultural moment, sparking debates about authenticity and entertainment. Fallon, backstage, reads the note again, a quiet resolve settling in. He's weathered the storm, stronger for it. The Tonight Show's still his, and he's ready for whatever comes next. The crowd's cheers echo as the lights dim, a triumph hard-earned and undeniable.